Manga review. Talking about Fire Punch today. Man, um, you don't hear a lot about this, or at least I don't, because I don't get outside much. Um, I'm not in the anime scene at conventions or anything, and I don't have a lot of friends that really read manga because I don't have a lot of friends. But this is one that I've always seen, and from what I've heard on YouTube, this is a great series to get into, especially if you're into the nitty gritty dark stuff like Berserk, which I have also read most of. I'm up to I'm up to 6 on the big beefy boy edition. Fire Punch. You'll like it if you really like a dystopian, depressed, edgy main character who's emotionally traumatized. Right off the back, this manga hits it out the park with catching your attention. We see the main characters clearly dying in the freezing cold, all because of the Ice Witch, who is one of the blessed, people born with the ability to perform miracles. By the way, the blessed is probably one of the coolest terms for a power I've ever heard. Like quirk, it's all right. It's quirky. Yeah, that was really fucking dumb. If that wasn't enough to grab your attention, we see on the next page, this guy gets his arm chopped off. Lo and behold, it's okay because it grows back immediately after. That is his blessed ability. Hyper regeneration, or at least that's what I'm calling it because it happens really freaking fast. They take this arm that they just chopped off to this old lady who tells us the names of our main characters, Luna and Agni, brother and sister. At first I was like, okay, they're gonna use it for firewood because it's so damn cold. Yeah, that makes logical sense, and that's pretty, honestly, kind of pretty ethical. My hopes were quickly dashed as Luna tells her to eat her brother's flesh as much as possible. Lo and behold, this guy's arms are the only thing keeping this village afloat and not dying of hunger. After delivering to the grandma, they go to this old guy, and turns out he's dead. Old man Vana, is dead. He didn't eat the arm meat, and so now he's dead. And yeah, I'm hard pressed to say that wasn't the best choice. Eating some random child's arm. That's kind of gross. Out of all the things I expected from a manga, cannibalism, being very nonchalant, was not one of them. After they let people know that Vaughn is dead, they go home and make some arm meat soup, and we figure out that Agni doesn't need to eat because of his regeneration, which is pretty cool. But his sister makes him eat anyway. So they finish their meal and they hit the hay. Agni is telling Luna stories about the world before the harsh blizzard, the harsh cold, saying that sometimes the cold was actually a good thing and felt good. Hello. Come to say hi? I think my neighbors are shooting some guns or something, so they're a little scared. And she says he always looks happy when he's talking about before it was cold. She kisses him on the cheek, good night, and he's like, that's weird, don't do that. And after a few agonizing moments of silence, she decides to flip over and kiss him right on the lips. Yeah. But wait, if the kiss on the lips wasn't that bad, then she says this. I'm not going to read it, I'm just going to show it. Wow. I could not believe that. What is this? This is page 14, by the way. 15. Anyway, they visit the old guy's funeral, and the priest guy, who we find out is their parent guardian, gives them some milk because they're the only young people in there and they need nourishment. He had saved them from the cold by bringing them in and using their valuable firewood, with heavy protest from the other villagers. Luckily, it worked out in his favor because now they have an infinite food source from both Agni and his sister. Post-edit here, lost a little bit of footage between this. Basically, after that, it cuts to Agni hunting, where he sees a plane flying overhead, headed towards his village. Obviously, he follows it, and he finds out it's a military cargo plane, and this is where we meet Doma. Doma tells Agni that he intends to take all their rations because there's having a war straight over the hill. Clearly, Agni's like, you can't do that. We need those. Doma's like, sorry, but we're going to do that anyway. This is also where we find out about the city called Bohemdorg, which is a city of young people. Although, fun fact, regardless of age, if you're capable, you'll rise through the ranks and earn your own slaves. So far, we have cannibalism, incest, and now slavery. So that's nice. Doma lets it be known that the military's whole point of being is to take down the Ice Witch and to restore green to the world. Agni tells him to go home, and that only makes Doma more interested in him. Some low-level lackeys come back, and they reveal to Doma that there are a bunch of body parts in all of these houses. Shocker. They're Agni's. To which Doma replies, cannibals. Doma tells all of his forces to pull out, and as he's walking away, he lets us know that He doesn't think these things are human. Before leaving, though, he asks Agni if there are any blessed among them. Agni says no, obviously, being the smart person he is, and Doma reveals that he himself is one. His power is pretty cool. He tells Agni that his flames will never extinguish until the fuel perishes, which I thought was an odd choice of words until I turned the page. Sure enough, we can add war crimes to the list of fucked up shit in this book, because we are greeted with a massacre. Burnt bodies, burnt buildings, including both Agni's body and his sister Luna's. We are greeted with Agni in pure agony as he's burning to death, but then instantly regenerates, which makes the flames continue to burn him. This is where Agni realizes that by focusing his mind to negate his regenerative abilities, the flames go out, but only because his skin and body are fully decayed. He, in his own words, had found a way to escape the pain. If he just died, he'd be free, which is not a lesson you should take to heart. He then realizes if he dies, he could be back with his family, his mother and his father. The burning body of Luna snaps him out of that realization, though, and he watches his sister burn in agony and in pain. Of course, she had regeneration abilities too, but hers are just way weaker and slower than his, so she would not be making it through this. Agni thinks of all the things that him and his family could do if both him and Luna died. He could show her real flowers and let her pet all the animals. And what's that? Luna's last words are to tell him to live. And that is the last thing he ever hears. We're then greeted with a beautiful montage of Agni enduring the flames for a very long time. Year 1, all he could do was howl in pain. By year 3, he was able to walk around, biting off his own tongue to ignore the pain. By year 5, his body acclimated to the pain, and he was able to move around perfectly freely, but the flames still kept him from breathing properly. Finally, after 8 years, he started to teach himself how to control his regenerative abilities. He succeeded in confining the flames to his lower half, finally able to breathe after 8 long years. With this accomplished, Agni curled his hand into a fist and swore to put it right through Doma. We then cut to a caravan, which you quickly realize is a slave caravan. The guys inside talk about how all the slaves will die in various different ways, either working to death or being bred to death. When Buzzcut McGee over here needs to take a piss. So, where else does he piss other than right in front of the slaves? At this point, a poor father decides he'll let Buzzcut know his son needs a drink. Buzzcut lets us know he's blessed, and lets us know that he can make iron out of nothing, and shape it into whatever he wants. Pretty cool. He then makes a cup, pisses in the cup, and hands it to the young boy, saying, "This is the piss of someone blessed by God." Now that's pretty narcissistic, buddy. As he's trying to get this kid to drink his own piss, he sees another kid staring at him, and that rubs him the wrong way. So what's the only logical option to do there? Tell them to kill him. They start pulling out all the old people and the small kid that was staring at him, and they start executing all the old people one by one. As the guard executing him gets to the young child, he stops because he notices something in the distance. And with the amount of aura dripping off of Agni in this one frame, I knew this fight wasn't going to be very long, but nonetheless, Buzzcut decides to level up with the Tetsu and puts a bunch of iron all over his body. It's okay. Agni comes across the bodies, bringing him back to painful memories of his sister and all the other bodies in the village burning. We're then greeted with another manga panel that's absolutely stunning, with Agni looking like a jacked Todoroki. Buzzcut throws a right hook right towards Agni's face, and before he could do anything, Agni punches a hole straight through his chest and lights him on fire. The man tries to put the flames out. Obviously, they won't go out because they're Doma's flames, and we watch him crumble to ash. We then cut to a flashback of Agni and his father and sister. His father's telling them that people are like fire. They need fuel, and what fuels him is them, Agni and Luna. We then cut to another flashback of Agni and Luna bound, and 4 men in their house. Where are their parents, may you ask? They used their parents as firewood. And now they've resorted to using Agni and Luna's body parts as firewood. One of the guys goes to swing on Luna's arm, misses by a mile, and nicks her. She screams in pain, obviously, and with one final whack, it's off. And with one final strike, it's off. Luna and Agni chit-chat for a while by themselves while the guys are out doing something, when one guy comes in, and by the looks of this panel, I could tell what was about to go down, and I was not looking forward to it. He comes in, smacks the shit out of Agni, and starts to unzip himself. I'm not going to show any of this, but you can add grape to the list of things that are fucked up in this. Luna's having none of it, so obviously she's fighting back, and the guy starts to beat the crap out of her. Agni, seeing that he needs to do something, decides he's going to break his own wrists to get out of his confinements. Once he does so, he takes the bad guy's cleaver and whacks it right into his skull. A final memory of Luna's last words as she's burning to death ring in Agni's head, shaking him from his flashback. We then realize, as we turn the page, that he killed all the rest of the guards on the bridge and has freed the slaves. The newly freed slaves thank him, but Agni refuses that he saved them at all, stating he just killed the guy he wanted to kill. Agni, setting out to go find Doma, is quickly stopped by a child, the very child that was going to die, before Agni stepped in. The girl introduces herself as Sun, and starts to follow Agni. Agni tells her to not follow him, obviously, because Agni's flames are really dangerous. Sun thinks Agni is God because they prayed right before they were going to die, and Agni showed up. Makes sense to me. Sun lets Agni know if they don't follow that they'll just turn into a popsicle, so they'd rather stay close to Agni's flames and keep warm. But Agni, as a total badass, tells Sun that's none of his concern. Sun tries to convince Agni to let him follow by giving him sugar, which is quickly blown away by the wind, which I thought was pretty funny. Sure enough, Agni just continues walking, and with Agni, Sun follows. We then see they're being watched by several guys up on the ridge. One of them mistakes Agni for a flame type, and boy will that be their demise, and they plan to kill Agni, as well as take Sun for a slave. Sun and Agni find themselves in a blizzard, and Sun passes out. So, what always happens when a character passes out? Another flashback. That's right. We found out that everybody else in the village told Sun that it was ordained by God that she needed to leave the village. Even her own brother told her just to not die. Sun wakes up to see Agni sitting right next to her, because turns out in all that flame is a heart. They head over to an abandoned shack, and Sun decides to start lighting a fire, asking Agni if he could help. Agni, of course, says that his flames are dangerous, being Doma flames, and that Sun needs to light it herself. This is where we find out that Sun is also blessed. She has the ability to cause short bursts of lightning, saying zap zap, as she says. Sun decides she's going to go to bed, thanking Agni once again for saving her, and Agni's response this time is that he doesn't care what happens to her, but that it would make him sick if she died in front of him. This is when Sun promises that she won't die. If she does, she'll forget her brother, Sugar, the priest, and 2 other people that I don't really know. Oh, and Sugar. Yes, Sugar twice. Agni and Sun have a moment, and Agni lets Sun know that he's going to dip in the morning, and to not follow him. Agni, finally resting a little bit now that Sun is asleep, almost passes out because of the pain. As he struggles to get up, we're greeted with a page where I wasn't quite sure what was happening. Does he have a nosebleed, or did he just get shot? Turns out he did get shot. Obviously, the shooting wakes up Sun, and of course, they have to go and try and do the deed with Sun, once again. But, having counted Agni out, they didn't expect him to come back, and my guy looks badass. Agni starts lighting them up one by one, throws a nasty hook, saying with every punch and every bullet, it feels better. There's one guy left, and he takes Sun captive, holding a gun to his head. And this is where I found out Sun was actually not a girl, stating, "Is this your little brother?" And Agni says, "Kill him if you want. He followed me of his own accord." Followed by, "If you're going to kill me, then kill me." Sun then zaps the guy's gun, which only does a little bit of tingle, and the guy goes to shoot Sun. However, before he can, we hear a bunch of noise. Well, they hear a bunch of noise. And we see an avalanche, which takes everybody out. Except, of course, the fireman himself. Agni stands up to see the whole place is covered in snow, and with it, Sun is gone. So to show the readers that he actually does have a heart, he then starts to look for Sun. After a few moments of digging, Agni finally finds Sun, and then we cut to a flashback. Turns out, Sun's village thought he was really dumb, but they also noticed that everybody was getting marks except for him. So Sun's brother, realizing that everybody was getting the plague, and not Sun, decided to ask everybody to not tell Sun that they were dying. And so we find out in a tragic twist of events that his whole village was lying to him to get him to leave, so that he would survive, because they knew Sun would bring warmth to the world. So they finally head off, and like every child, after only a few minutes, Sun needs to pee. Asking Agni to wait for him, he goes to pee. And quite literally, I found this really funny, a whole manga page of him pissing. Finally, he's done pissing, and he turns around and Agni's gone. Luckily, though, for Sun, Agni is a man on fire in a complete snow wasteland, so there's a pretty big trail to follow. Luckily, after only a few minutes, someone in a random snowmobile decides to show up, asking Sun if they got separated from their parents. They offer Sun a ride. This character, turns out, his name is Judah, and they help him get to Agni. Luckily, Agni is easy to find, considering he's on fire and a literal beacon to anybody walking around. They pull up on Agni, and Sun runs up to go say hi. But before Sun can say anything, Judah chops Agni's fucking head off with what looks like a crowbar. But I think it's got a blade on it. Yeah, I was dumbfounded at that one. The flames start to get up to Judah's arm, and he slices his own arm off. And, of course, it grows back right away. Agni's body starts to reform and chops it off quickly again, chopping off his arm yet again. Reinforcements arrive, and they start blasting Agni so that he can't regenerate. So Agni's caught, and they are going to take Sun to hopefully be obedient. They keep blasting Agni in the head, and his head rolls over, and what does he see? Judah is actually his fucking sister. That one I actually really didn't see coming, like, at all. So with Agni in shock, they wrap his head up in some kind of flame-retardant cloth, and they pack the rest of his body, what looks like his body, in a briefcase. They then take him to Behemdorg, immediately start blasting him again. We're then greeted by a beautiful picture of Behemdorg, and man, full page of cityscape, just absolutely gorgeous. Luna goes to get Doma, letting the guys know to keep shooting Agni's head, so that he doesn't regenerate. Up next, we see Sun is now in a room with some other girl. And Sun also doesn't know what the fuck a dog is, but I guess that's kind of normal, because probably most dogs would have died in the cold. He thinks it's Bear, and that's okay. Sun finds out this is his new home and workplace. What he works on yet? Not sure. Sun lets the girl know that Agni saved him, so he has to get out and help Agni. The girl introduces herself as Nenetto. Nenetto asks Sun if he has a plan, and Sun replies, "I'm blessed," stating he'll zap the person and run away. Nenetto lets Sun know that he shouldn't be telling people that he's blessed, because depending on his blessing, his fate could be worse than death. Nenetto says she'll get the guy to let his guard down, whoever comes in next, and she'll give him the signal by sticking her tongue out. Their little plan is interrupted, though, by 2 dogs and a shady man. I knew this guy was no good as soon as I saw him, and boy oh boy, was I not prepared for this one. The guy talks to them for a while, trying to break down their guard, and he keeps comparing them to dogs, a little bit too much for my comfort. I thought Nenetto was being stupid when she finally said that she genuinely thought about leaving, and then she starts breaking down crying, which leads the creep guy to give her a hug and comfort her, I suppose. And this is when I realized she was actually being smart, and she gave Sun the signal. But Sun, being an idiot, breaks down laughing because he forgot they had a signal in the first place. That's when Creepo here lets them know what their job is, saying these dogs are both boys, and they're good boys. I will not read the next page. There's nothing that could have prepared you for that. Luckily, Agni's like, "What's that?" And Nenetto obviously asks, "Why would we do that?" And this guy admits that it's just straight up what he's into. And so he tells them to take off their clothes and stick their little rear ends out. And for some reason, the idea of sticking his butt up in the air really appeals to Sun. So he flies out of his pants for some reason. And this is when I realized everybody else, including the people in there, thought Sun was a girl. Creep guy's like, "You're a boy?" And Sun's like, I guess. That really pisses off Creepo. Creepo then makes a homophobic line, and Nenetto lets Sun know to zap the fucker. Sun zaps the fucker right between his earballs, and they book it. Not but 5 seconds after they're out of the doorway. Sun trips like a loosey-goosey dumb fuck. And on the next page, once again, I was pretty shocked. He didn't trip, his legs were fucking cut off. Creepo makes an appearance, letting big burly axe-wielding guy know not to kill Sun, because he's blessed and they can use him. Nenetto pisses herself, and that makes her totally useless for the dogs. Creep says, "We can't kill her, because killing is wrong. My guy needs to get his priorities straight." Beefcake throws Sun straight at the doctor, and the doctor is also blessed, healing up Sun's legs, but only just to stumps so that he can't run away again. Once again, Sun has a new path, ordained by God, to be used as a power source until he dies. We then cut back to Agni getting blasted in the face, shot in the face, more and more. Luckily, the guards are getting a little lax in their bullet counting, and one of the guys has a few clicks before the next guy can join in. Luckily, this is enough time for Agni to spit a bullet back out at one of the guards, catching him on fire. That makes one guard down for the count. As the other guard watches in horror, a fiery hand reaches out and grabs his leg, lighting him on fire. Finally, the third guy comes back with a case of bullets to find Agni totally badass, fully regenerated. Lucky for that guard, before Agni can punch a hole through his chest, someone tells the soldier to go find Judah. And lo and behold, Doma goes from looking like Erwin to Zeke. Doma blasts Agni with flames and asks him why he's still alive. He finally asks Agni who he is. Agni could only respond with, "You killed my sister." And in some form of self-reflection, Doma asks if he really did kill her. Agni winds up a huge haymaker, only to get blasted by fire again. And then in one of the oddest things I, once again, never expected from manga. The bad guy asks the good guy if he'll ever forgive him, saying, "I'll do anything except die." After a few seconds of shock, Agni winds up another haymaker, and we're interrupted by some random girl. She introduces herself as Togeda. Togeda's into movies, and she needs movies. She can go without stuff like eating, sleeping, or masturbating, but not movies. She then lets us know that one of her lackeys brought a tape of a man on fire, having a wild appearance, eyes like Zorro, and a body like the Human Torch. She thought to herself she wanted to know more about this guy. So right then and there, Togeda knew she was going to make a movie about this guy. She thinks of a name of what to call the movie, and the name is finally revealed on the last page. That had me more confused than anything. A burnt-to-the-crisp corpse in front of long-haired Doma. So I was a little confused about this part because I don't know if that's Agni, because from the looks of it, bro's got like a beard or something. All in all, I really like the manga. I like how gritty and dark it is. I like how they show you the stakes right away. In Agni feeding his village his own arms really brings a sense of the amount of deep shit that they're in. I love how fleshed out the world is. It's granted it's only the first book, so it's not super fleshed out, but you have a sense of vastness because we've only seen one village that's alive, and then we have Bohemdorg, which is massive. It's starting to come alive, obviously because it's the first book, but I think they're doing really good with that. I love the powers. I think the power system is really cool. Calling people blessed, I think that's badass. We've got regeneration. We've got the Iron Guy. We've got flames, obviously, Doma's flames, healing, and Sun's lightning. I think that's really neat. I can't wait to see new powers and what they come up with. I love the characters. I love Agni. Agni's badass. He's awesome. Believe it or not, I have a feeling we might come to like Doma. I don't know, but the fact at the end that he was crying and showed some semblance of remorse was very cool to me. I didn't know how to take it, and I hope that means something good. Sun is another great character. He's obviously the comic relief. It's just funny. Every scene he's in is funny. I loved the pissing scene. The scene where it's just him pissing for a whole manga page. I thought that was utterly hilarious. Two things I should note. One, I hope the incest stops here. I'm good. Don't need them to do that. They're okay. You can leave that at the door, and we'll be fine. I also hope the dog guy dies. Yeah. Dog guy can get fucked. Yeah. That's so. Yeah. I think with some of this stuff, what I hope his goal was, I hope the goal was to really show how fucked up the world is in this system. Now, I think the slavery aspect of it, I think that did pretty damn good job of it, because if there's slavery, it's pretty fucked up. If people are eating themselves, that's pretty fucked up. War crimes, once again, pretty fucked up. You didn't need to bring the dogs into it, dude. You just didn't, but they did, and it's fine. It's in there. It's not fine, but it's in there. So yeah, hopefully he dies. That would make me happy. But at the end of the day, yeah, I give it a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to give it. Absolute masterpiece. I want to read more, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. So yeah, that is my first ever manga review. If you did like it, please like and subscribe. I'm not sure how I'm going to keep doing this. Hopefully the next one will be Pun Pun. Goodbye Pun Pun. I've heard that's another dark, crazy one. So I'll be doing that one next. If you liked this and you have any critiques for me, if I should make stuff shorter, stuff longer, what I should do, please let me know, and I will try and do that. Thank you very much.